갈게요.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Jikook Diaries channel. There are certain moments that don't need over-editing, dramatic music, or even loud narration. Just a camera that happens to be on one perfect angle and a pair of eyes too honest to hide. This is one of those moments. A brief shot at the airport, seemingly ordinary on the surface, but something else entirely once you really pay attention. The title might sound over the top to some, but for those who watch with an open heart, this moment feels undeniable. The airport has always been a space of transition, a place where everyone is rushing, the sounds of announcements mix with footsteps, and everyone is focused on their own goals. For idols of their stature, the airport also means extra vigilance. Lots of eyes, lots of cameras, lots of expectations. Jungkook and Jimin are used to this. They know when to smile, when to bow, when to walk in step with the other members. Everything seems controlled, but it's precisely in this controlled space that small bits of honesty often slip by unnoticed. In the footage, there are no major scenes. There are no overly dramatic touches. There is no clearly audible dialogue. But there is one thing that is hard to ignore. The way Jungkook looks at Jimin. Not once, not twice, over and over again. It's as if a magnet draws his gaze back, even when his body is turned forward. Even when the situation demands focus on his surroundings. His eyes always return to the same point. Jimin. What makes this moment so powerful is not just the gaze itself, but its consistency. Jungkook isn't looking at the camera. He's not posing. His expression is relaxed, almost careless. It's not a stage stare, but a look that usually only appears when someone forgets the world is watching. There's a calmness to his face, a gentle concern, and something deeply personal in the way he observes Jimin standing, walking, or even just standing still. Jimin himself seems like the Jimin we know. Calm, warm, with gentle body language. There are no grand gestures, no attempts to attract attention. It's precisely this unintentionality that makes it all feel real. Within seconds, the camera captured Jimin's slight turn of his head, and almost at the same moment, Jungkook had already spotted him. It was as if he was always one step ahead, always more aware of Jimin's presence around him. Many called it a call, as if there was an invisible signal between them. Not a verbal call, but an emotional one. When one moved, the other noticed. When one remained still, the other noticed. And it all happened effortlessly, without a plan, without a script. The camera just happened to be there, capturing something that perhaps wasn't meant to be captured. Fan reactions varied, but one common thread was clear. Many said this wasn't about proving anything. It was about feelings, about a dynamic that had existed for a long time, but sometimes it emerged most clearly in small moments like this. Some said Jungkook's gaze was protective. Others saw it as admiration. Still others simply remained silent, feeling that words didn't need to explain what was already obvious. Interestingly, this wasn't the first time something like this had been caught on camera, but each time it felt different. Perhaps because the context changed. Maybe it's because they've grown more mature. Or maybe it's because, over time, what was once easily hidden is now harder to conceal. It's not that they're careless, but because genuine feelings tend to find their own way. At the airport, amidst the crowd and noise, Jungkook looked like someone who found a place of calm simply by making sure Jimin was nearby. His eyes followed, not with excessive intensity, but with habit. Like someone who's long been accustomed to making sure their significant other is okay. And it's precisely that habit that's most honest. There's no grand claim to be made from a single video, no absolute conclusion to be forced. But turning a blind eye to what's seen also feels unfair. Because what's captured on camera isn't just idle speculation. It's body language. It's a spontaneous reaction. It's a moment that happened too quickly to be staged, too natural to be faked. Perhaps to some, it's just a casual glance. But to those who've long observed Jungkook and Jimin's dynamic, this moment feels like a small piece of a larger story. A story of comfort, of connection, of two people who have overcome many obstacles, so many things together that each other's presence becomes automatic.
안녕하세요. 오늘 누가 제일 멋지게 하고 온 거예요? 약속이 누가 제일 멋지게 하고 왔대요?
Ultimately, this video isn't about the airport. It's not about the camera. It's not even about who's looking at whom. It's about the feelings that arise in the midst of routine, about the honesty that emerges when someone isn't aware they're being watched. And in those few seconds of footage, one thing becomes crystal clear to many. Jungkook may be able to control things on stage, but when it comes to Jimin, his eyes are always honest. And perhaps that's precisely where the beauty lies. And maybe that's why moments like this linger longer than flashy performances or perfectly scripted interactions. They stay with us because they feel human, because they remind us that even in a life surrounded by schedules, security teams, and constant observation, there are still instincts that can't be rehearsed. Care that doesn't ask permission. Attention that happens before logic has time to intervene. When Jungkook's eyes return to Jimin again and again, it doesn't feel calculated. It feels reflexive, like breathing, like something learned over time through shared spaces, shared silence, shared understanding. These are the kinds of habits built not in front of cameras, but in the in-between moments, the ones we don't usually get to see. There's also something quietly reassuring about how natural it all looks. No tension, no hesitation, just presence. Jungkook doesn't seem distracted by the crowd because his focus has already found its anchor. And Jimin, whether aware or not, moves with the same gentle confidence he always does, as if knowing on some level that he's not alone in that space. This is why fans return to these clips again and again. Not to dissect every frame obsessively, but to feel that warmth once more. To remember that connection doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it shows itself in the smallest gestures, in a glance held a second too long, in eyes that soften without realizing it. In a world that constantly demands proof, moments like this offer something different. They don't demand belief, they simply exist. You can take them as they are, let them pass, or let them settle quietly in your chest. There's no right or wrong way to feel about it. And maybe that's the most beautiful part. This wasn't a moment created for validation. It wasn't designed to convince anyone. It was just a fragment of real life, unfolding naturally, captured by chance. A reminder that sometimes the most meaningful stories are the ones that happen when no one is trying to tell one. So whether you see it as affection, comfort, habit, or simply two people deeply attuned to each other, one thing remains undeniable. Authenticity has a way of shining through. And when it does, it leaves a mark soft, quiet, but lasting. If you felt the same way while watching this moment, you're not alone. Sometimes, the most real things don't need to be explained at length. They just need to be seen, felt, and then held in your heart. Thank you for sticking with me until the end. Don't forget to like if a small moment like this makes you pause, subscribe for more equally touching stories from Jimin, and share in the comments what you felt most about that look. See you in the next video because there are always simple moments that hold great meaning.